I went into the bathroom with him at the nightclub, and his tool was huge. I was loving it. After a lot of courage, I decided to write to you about being unfaithful. I'm going to tell you here in this story how I found a solution to save my marriage. My name is Betrick, I am 30 years old, and I am married to Carlos. He is 38 years old, and we've been married for almost 12 years. Like many marriages, ours is facing challenges. My husband and I have a young child. After the birth of our last child, things got worse. The lack of sleep, money, and constant tiredness from taking care of the child left us exhausted. In the beginning, we were very much in love, and the arrival of the child brought immense happiness to our lives. Over time, however, things started to change. My marriage is in trouble. My husband works a lot more now to pay for extra expenses. Our intimacy has gone from full of passion and desire to rare and passionless moments. We fight a lot, and the arguments never end. Carlos complains that I'm always tired and in a bad mood. I feel like he doesn't help enough with the housework and taking care of our son. I feel frustrated. Our marriage was in trouble. We were not having as much sex as we used to, and we were fighting more often. I felt like Carlos wasn't doing enough around the house, and he felt like I wasn't enough. We weren't communicating, and we were both busy with our lives. I decided to try to fix things. I bought some toys, lingerie, and costumes, and one day I convinced Carlos to go with me to a store that sold toys. It was fun, and it made us closer. We were a little embarrassed at first, but we soon started laughing and exploring the store. We bought several things, including nurse and police officer costumes. That day, it felt like we were rejuvenated. We were rediscovering the pleasure of being together. In the first few weeks, we took advantage of these new things and had a lot of fun. It felt like the spark was back. I remember. One night, I wore a new lingerie set, and Carlos seemed like the happiest man in the world. We used the toys, laughed, and for a moment, it seemed like everything was going back to normal. However, this excitement didn't last long. We soon fell into a routine again. The toys ended up forgotten at the back of the closet, and the lingerie was stored away unused. We rarely enjoyed each other, and it became hard to keep things going. My husband became distant, and I felt frustrated. I didn't give up, though. I knew we loved each other. I felt that Carlos was trying, too. He didn't want to be like those women who send stories, playing the victim, and using some excuse to cheat. I wanted to solve that problem together. I thought of ways to make our love life better. I tried to be more affectionate, talked about our feelings, and tried to understand what else we could do to improve our relationship. We talked and decided to go out every weekend to do something different. At first, we always went to bars and nightclubs with friends. The idea was to try to bring back the spark. I thought about how we could make our relationship more fun and loving. We talked about our feelings and tried new things to make our relationship better. Every weekend, we went out together. At first, we went to bars and nightclubs with friends. We wanted to feel the way we did at the beginning of our relationship. These outings started to do good. We liked the company of other people, the laughter, and lively conversations. They helped us relax and see things in a new way. At the bars, we danced, drank, and for a few hours, we forgot about our jobs and daily problems. When we started going to nightclubs, I danced a lot. I always loved dancing and enjoyed every moment on the dance floor with my friends. I felt the music vibrate in my body, freeing me from worries and problems while I was having fun. I noticed my husband watching me from afar. Carlos preferred to stay away and watch the dance floor. He was never much of a dancer, but that didn't bother me. The important thing was that we were together, even if we were doing different things. He was relaxed, even though he hadn't finished dancing with me. He seemed to be enjoying the environment. I wasn't worried about jealousy or fights. Dancing alone with my friends gave me freedom, but I was also afraid that it would cause problems between us. When we got back from the party, I decided to ask him if it was okay for me to dance alone or with my friends were a little nervous. I asked my husband, "Honey, would you be okay with me dancing alone or with my friends?" I didn't want him to be bothered. Carlos looked at me with a smile and said, "I don't mind, honey. I like watching you have fun. Seeing you happy makes me happy, too. His response made me feel great, knowing that he wasn't feeling left out and that he enjoyed seeing me enjoying the moment. This made me feel more at ease. It made us more determined to keep going out and try to rekindle the spark that seemed to be fading between us since we decided to go out every weekend. My friends couldn't I always dance with my husband, but he isn't a big fan of dancing. So, I started dancing alone in the middle of the dance floor. It became my space where I could let loose and have fun without worrying about what other people thought. The music made me feel alive, and my husband watched from afar, appreciating my enjoyment. Although he didn't actively participate, I felt comfortable enjoying the moment. One of those nights, I was done dancing and happily approached a guy who started dancing with me. His back was turned, and I thought it was my husband, so I started dancing with him. I danced even harder, shaking my hips and grinding, completely absorbed in the music. It was only when the music changed and I turned to the side that I realized it wasn't my husband. The guy was a stranger, and the situation left me a little disconcerted and surprised. I'm not going to lie to you. The guy was quite attractive, young, tall, and very strong. I was speechless when I realized it wasn't my husband. I quickly apologized, explaining that I had gotten confused. He also apologized, saying he didn't want to cause any problems. I went back to my husband's table, who he was watching from a distance. I felt a little embarrassed, but I tried to act normally. When I got to the table, I was afraid my husband would get mad at me, but he asked if I was enjoying the dance. He said it was okay for me to dance with other people, since he didn't like going. I watched from a distance. I felt embarrassed, but I tried to act normally. When I got to the dance floor, I was afraid my husband would fight with me. But he asked if I was enjoying the dance and said it was okay for me to dance with other people, since he didn't like going. He even encouraged me to ask the guy to play another song. This left me relieved and a little confused. I thought about it, thinking it could be a reason for a huge fight, but he seemed calm. I said it was okay and went back to dancing. I walked over to the guy I was dancing with. He asked the guy to play another song, which made me think there was going to be a big fight, but he seemed calm. I said it was okay and went back to dancing. I started dancing with the guy I was dancing with again as the music got louder and the lyrics got bolder. Our dance became more and more intimate. My husband was watching from afar with a look of desire and mystery. It made me want to be desired and dominated in a way I had never experienced before. Seeing myself dancing for another man seemed to awaken an even greater desire in him, and it was making me extremely excited and anxious. After dancing with the guy, I thanked him and went back to my husband's table. He was visibly anxious, and I could tell the atmosphere was charged. We had been drinking, and the alcohol started to take effect as soon as I arrived. He immediately asked if I had enjoyed dancing with another man. I hesitated before answering, but I eventually said yes. I asked my husband if he had enjoyed watching me dance with another man. He said yes, that he had really enjoyed it. Then, out of the blue, he made me a proposition. He said that if I wanted, I could kiss him. He said it would be just for that night and that there would be no consequences. My husband seemed genuinely interested, and suddenly the idea didn't seem so far-fetched. My husband's suggestion, mixed with the alcohol and excitement of the evening, intrigued me. He said he would stay at the table and watch from a distance. I felt a growing and intense desire, so I went back to talking with the guy. We started to talk in a more intimate and engaging way, and the chemistry between us was evident with each word and touch. The more we talked, the more attracted to him I felt. I decided to take the situation to the next level. I felt an urge to be alone with him. I invited him to the bathroom so we could talk in private. Surprised, he followed me. When we got close to the bathroom, I looked around to make sure no one was watching. I grabbed the guy and kissed him. We were on fire, and I felt completely enveloped in the feeling of power. My husband was hidden but couldn't help but notice. I went ahead and took the guy. My husband went into the bathroom while I waited outside. I could barely contain my excitement. I finally understood what he was doing and how excited he was about the idea. Inside the bathroom, the atmosphere became increasingly charged. The guy and I continued to give in to our desires without inhibitions. My husband, standing outside, seemed to be getting even more excited by the sounds coming from inside the bathroom. He could hear my moans and knew exactly what was happening in there. This only increased the intensity of what we were experiencing. I was enjoying myself so much that I was completely giving in to the pleasure of the moment. After a few minutes, the guy left the bathroom, and I, a little out of breath, started to leave too. But before I could reach the door, my husband pulled me back into the bathroom. He was completely taken by the situation and the action of the moment. There in that small space, we began to make love in an intense and crazy way. We had never experienced anything so intense before. The combination of desire and atmosphere created an experience that left us breathless. I was so involved and addicted to this new form of pleasure that I gave without stopping. Before reading the rest of this story, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. After that night, we went home laughing and full of energy. My husband seemed as happy as I was on the way. He asked me if I enjoyed the idea and the experience. I answered honestly, saying that before I continue with this story, please like and subscribe to the channel. After that amazing night, we went home laughing and full of energy. My husband seemed as happy as I was on the way. He asked me if I enjoyed the idea and the experience. I answered honestly, saying that it had been incredible and that I wanted to do it again whenever we could. He smiled with a mix of joy and satisfaction and revealed that he had also found the experience fantastic. In the car, we started talking about what had happened. To my surprise, he opened his heart and revealed that he had always had a secret desire to. He had said that he had always wanted to see me with other men, but he had never had the courage to tell me. He was afraid that I would fight with him, and that we would end up breaking up. But when he confessed, it didn't cause any awkwardness. It seemed to create a new understanding between us, and it made what we experienced that night even better. After that night, we decided to explore this desire further. We became good at this new way of living our relationship. Almost every weekend, we have fun with other men and even with couples. These experiences not only rekindled the passion between us, but they also saved our marriage. They brought a new dynamic and enthusiasm to our life together. This new understanding and freedom made our relationship better. Couples should talk openly and work together to solve problems instead of betraying each other because of small problems. Finding a way to understand each other and improve the relationship can make a marriage stronger. It is important to keep working together and to look for solutions that help both people instead of betraying each other and showing disrespect. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment about what you thought of this story. See you next time.